Okay, yep, it's being saved to my YouTube channel. What's up, guys? I think Yamath and oh, oh, Phil. It's the long lost Phil.
Hey there, guys.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, good to see you all. It has been a while.
Yes.
I found him hanging out in a backyard in Victoria, so there is no escape for him.
You're back in Canada?
Yes, back in
Oh,
Canada.
sweet. Well,
It's been a while since I've been seeing all of you guys in these windows. And last time I saw you, Jesse, was in real fucking life. It was your
I was
husband.
just thinking that this second, the last time I saw you, I think I hugged you, It's so cool.
Yeah.
well, I was waiting on Yamath. Does someone want to yell at him? Send him a text. He said he was coming, and Neo said he was coming late. Uh, Chris had sent a message, and Josh that they couldn't make it.
I would have sent a message, but I had to be spontaneous and it just opened up. So
Oh,
I'm here.
perfect. Well, like I had said in the post, um, this is the last men's group meeting, or at least that I'm doing. Um, the flow just doesn't seem to be there, and I've also just started a new business last week, so I have all the equipment now, and for the summer, um, it's going to take most of my energy to get this lawn service off the ground. Back when I used to do it, we had beepers and pieces of paper, and now everything is automated. I can now sit at my computer, get a visual of people's lawn. It calculates out how much grass they have and how much I should charge them. Does all the routing, collects the money, asks them for referrals, marketing campaigns. It's like everything all together, but it's a bit of a learning curve. And this has been dwindling, so it just felt like the time. I hate to let it go, but it's really been of tremendous value in my life. You know, I can Olaf, I don't know that well, but I personally witnessed the growth of all you guys in so many different ways. You know, Matt and Jess have really grown with the Gene Keys, and Bill has grown with his heart. George, you've really grown your business and your stability. Robert, you're still growing with anger and learning from it. Um, at the end, I want to do a bit of a ceremony and release the directions and release the container. But for now, I just wanted to open it up and hear your guys' hearts and thoughts.
I just have a question, like if you have felt how you felt yourself grow in this over
Ah,
these years.
wow, that's a very good question. I'll circle back to that, but thank you for that inquisition.
It wasn't meant to be an inquisition.
I meant to say inquiry, but it came out inquisition. My humor has grown.
Inquiry and inquisition sure do have different, similar, similar entry points and a little bit different outcomes. That's great.
Well, Phil is a 5-1, which is the heretical investigator. So, I guess possibly, hey.
That's kind of a neat marriage, I guess, like bringing together the heretic and the investigator. Um, I kind of like that.
At least we can find out what we're getting in trouble for.
Yeah. I can
Well,
start us off. I guess I haven't. Sorry, Matthew, were you about to say something? I haven't been here for months, 6 months or something like that, and it's not for not wanting to be here. It's more just trying to chase my own tail, or no, not that. Trying to just catch up with myself and all that's been going on, and struggling to keep up the things that became habitual, I guess. And I think it's been a really interesting journey, because a lot of habitual patterns have been just falling away, um, shedding. I feel like this is also like, I think I've been with Serpent as my kind of guardian animal for more than 2 years now, and it keeps on showing its fangs, I guess. Um, this winter was hard. Like it was so nice to be in person with you, Jesse, and Matthew, and other people at the London event before Christmas. But there was also something really hard about it for me, and I think it was a real kind of a mirror being put up in front of my ego's face, and to sort of say like, yeah, who are you really? When you're not on these Zoom screens, when you only show like a little portion of yourself, even physically, you only see this part of me. You don't see that my legs tap dancing underneath the screen or whatever. But there was this piece that I've always been uncomfortable with about myself, that I've just hidden, and it's why I've chosen a lot of the lone wolf journey. Matthew and I were talking about that the other day or yesterday, and just tried to stay away from people because I was trying to stay away from my discomfort of self, and all of the things that I feel sort of ashamed of or uncertain of, or just not wanted to bring out in front of other people, because often when I did bring them out, they'd be met with judgment and criticism and lots of really strong opinions. I've had that a lot in my life, and so I just learned over a long period of time to just kind of hold it back, repress it, sink it to the sort of the nether regions of my body, and don't show it, don't let it out, so that then I don't have to face the feelings that came with people's judgments. And yeah, this winter was a long winter. It was pretty dark in some ways, in a very physical way as well. Like the weather was in England was really dark. Um, yeah, there was just so much that went on there, but kind of skipping ahead to the beginning of another Delta, which I started a few weeks before coming back here, back to Canada. And I started in the position of grace. And I had this beautiful experience during that week where I went outside after this men's group that I've been involved, another men's group that's kind of 10-week long course called Men of Depth and Soul. And we had a guest speaker on, Pat McCabe, who I've often listened to. And she talks about the masculine, or the males in the men in this world, as the waker of the dreaming egg, amongst other things. And she's always quite a powerful speaker. And I went outside after this 2.5 hour long sort of talk, and it was, because it's based in America, it was 2:30 in my morning when I'd finished, and I'm usually in bed by 10. And so I was kind of exhausted, but also just wanting to ground all of this stuff that I'd just taken in. And I walked outside, and I remember closing my eyes, being in the rain, and what I noticed was that my body was swaying, and as I swayed, all of the sort of the lights and colors behind my eyes were moving as if it was a hologram. And I put my hand up in front of my face, my eyes still closed, and I could see my hand outlined, or my hand was in pinpricks of light. It was like it was shown up in stars on the back of my closed eyelid. And I thought sort of weird hallucination, but I was quite excited about it. And then the next day, a similar thing happened, but this time it was like this plane of light, again, closed eyes, and this plane of light sort of descending from the heavens. And immediately I thought, this is grace. And as soon as it hit my body, it was like electricity running all the way down through my body, down through my legs, and into the sort of my roots in the ground. And just this feeling, this sense of like all of this is grace. And the fact that I'd started in this position in the Delta sequence just felt really, really potent for me. And the next few weeks, every single week, every single position I've been in has had this potency. And I landed in Canada just before the week of my transparency of the heart position, the position 4. And Julia and I, sort of to reconnect after 5 months of me being away, my partner and I, she'd organized this sort of this retreat place on another small island, and we did these ceremonies, and one was an MDMA ceremony, which I haven't had a lot of experience with, but man, I fucking loved it. We danced our asses off. We had a beautiful sort of dyads practice in the midst of this sort of depth of looking into each other's eyes and reconnecting. And I'm sort of suddenly saying like, man, I love this drug. What the hell's going on? Like, I don't know what's happening in my body and stuff like this. Like, and all of this, and Julia sort of said, like, all of this boyishness and happiness and joy and playfulness and lots of other aspects of being a human being were just emerging out of me in a really natural way. And I loved that. Like, it felt like really freeing. It felt really, really good to allow some of this repressed shit to just emerge and be expressed. And every time I went outside, you know, in the next few days, I would feel this sense of connection, with a much deeper sense of connection with nature than I've felt before, and a sense of communication with the stones, with the mosses, a feeling of being spoken to when a ship's foghorn would blow, or when wind would sort of move through the tree that I'm directly underneath and sway its branches, but not any of the other branches in the trees around me. And yeah, just a sense of real connection with life itself. And then, you know, as all of this was happening as well, there's this sort of sense of a diminishment of my ego and sense of individuality, which has also sort of left me feeling pretty happy. You know, that was 2 weeks ago, and that MDMA ceremony. And each day, you know, things that would have worried me in the past, like, or would have sort of been a weight that I'd carry around, don't seem to be there. Hello there, Yamith.
Hi guys.
So and the last thing, well, one other thing that I've already told Matthew this, but I did some ketamine in that week as well, and never had any experience with that before. But one of the deepest things that showed me, that medicine brought up, was a sense of what I'm really scared of, and it's my mind, it's the chaos of my own mind, and the noise, and the amount of power it has over my experience of life, because it's so programmable, right? And all of the programs are generally from the outside. It's not from me, myself. It's from any authority outside of me. And what this showed me was this beautiful, because ketamine just closes your fear centers, your fear receptors in the brain. And so you're able to sort of face all of these fears. And it showed me this kind of, my mind, which was so noisy, so many words being spoken all at once and loads of negative stuff. And it was like in the shape of a funnel. And so all of this chaos was sort of within this open funnel shape. And then it would drop me down into this teardrop shape underneath that was my heart. And it was just dead still, just completely at peace, no matter what was trying to sort of phase it above here in the open funnel. This heart was just like, just still and silent and peaceful, and it could just take anything. Like, it didn't matter what it was faced with. It was just, and it was also this sense of it's our heart. It wasn't my individual heart. It was the heart, and the heart of humanity. And I sort of thought, to have an experience of that, like, people say I've been open-hearted for a long time anyway, but I've never really experienced it directly. And to actually have an experience of what this heart is actually like, was a real gift. Like, I felt such gratitude to the medicine for that, to the day, to my partner, to the land at the place we were, and yeah, and just for being shown something that was inherent in humanity. Like, this is where the sort of treasure lies. Like, I don't need to worry about all of this shit, because I don't need to have walls around my heart and arrow archers on the top of towers sort of defending it. It can take it all. Like, it can hold it all. So yeah, I've had quite an experience these last months, and especially these last weeks. It's felt like a few months being packed into a couple of weeks since I arrived back in Canada, and it's really beautiful to be able to express all of this. It feels there is a grief at this being the last session of this men's container, but I also really understand why. It takes up a lot of energy to sort of make sure that it happens every single 2 weeks, and then if people don't turn up, like, that's discouraging. And I've been one of those people who hasn't turned up for a while, but I do appreciate everything you've done to keep it alive, Tom, and I do appreciate that there's a sort of a need to end it. But yeah, anyway, great to see you all, and yeah, thanks for hearing me.
I can share. I'm new here. Thank you for sharing, Phil. This is my second time in this container. And I can just say that it really made a difference for me last time. After the sharing I had last time, it broke a container was broken up in me. When when we finished, I was just sitting here like, what happened to me? It was like a lot of energy, and things I've been to therapy for years, and I thought I was kind of more or less done with it. It came up like a flood, and I was sitting with it, and then I had to deal with it for several days. And in one of the meditations, I heard also Tanmayo kind of saying like, bring it into your body, and let it just whatever, and just feel it and let it go through your body. And and I was so happy that I could actually start to do that and actually just take it in and let that move and not trying to hold it anymore. But I didn't need to talk. I just had to look at it and just feel it. And at that time we were in the EQ, and it really made sense for me that hey, this is really rock and roll. This is really something is happening, and the transition into this SQ where we are now in the Venus, it's like I landed like in the pool, and I feel so relaxed, and and um, and and trying to sense where this is going, and how this is part of life that I haven't really used, to just allow all these feelings to come, and be overwhelmed. I can also be overwhelmed and allow myself to be overwhelmed and say, I'm overwhelmed. I shut the door. I need a break, and feel more and move stuff. And now, this activation sequence just started, and I joined it, and I was diving into this first evolution and life's work, and to see what is this, like how do I shine at, how do I express myself, and what is really happening. I've been doing so much work now with these sequences and going into different spheres, but what am I doing with this, like how does this transform into my life, how can I really use this in my life? And that is really fantastic, interesting to actually, even today I had this experience like, I'm overwhelmed, I need to find a way here, can everybody hear me? Okay, I never did that before. I just kept doing stuff and ended up with certain stress, or didn't show any stress. I can handle a lot of energy, kind of, but just to talk about it, deal with it, and I even saw with my wife that she reacted different when I was actually speaking up with these feelings, and also I'm not really a speaker, and also this is my second time with you, and sadly enough, I hear it's ending. I was not aware of it, but it's really beautiful. It really changed something deep for me, just that one session with you, and I was triggered, something triggered, and I was shared out, and I've been dealing with it the whole month, and was really looking forward to see you again and to share this, and uh, and um, and uh, and also accepting that, yeah, just that I am overwhelmed quite often, actually, and to really okay, now I need to shut the door and take some time and figure things out a little bit and feel it into my body. And that's what I feel is happening a bit in this SQ space now. It's like poof, it's like I've been out sailing rough and just coming home and like, whoa, landing a little bit. And maybe the next wave is coming soon. I don't know. But allow to this to happen. And also there's this thing that I felt so shameful about. I've been, I have, I had done certain things in my life that I'm not really proud of or wouldn't maybe do again. But it's actually learning there. Okay, I just want to let go of feeling shameful about it. Just learn something about it. At least say, this is how I feel, and I want to move on. And come on. And one thing that came up when I was studying now in this evolution happening, to have more joy, in life, and allow this energy to be part of my life. That's I feel my eyes open up from this group, from this container, Tom. One time with you really changed a lot in my life. So thank you very much. And I'm still in all these programs, so I will still be in the Gene Keys. And if a group happens again, please let me know. I will definitely join you. Thank you.
Are you open to a little bit of feedback?
Of course, yes.
Look into the pause. What does he call that? What's Richard
Triple
call it?
flame. Triple flame.
The triple flame I've been using, but there's just a small book called
The contemplation.
Contemplation. Yep, there we go. And it's all about taking moments to just allow yourself to feel scattered throughout the day, or however often you can do that. And I've been finding it life-saving. So it's the art of contemplation. There may be a course. The triple flame is that. So that's my
Thank you.
2 cents.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a testament. Thank you, Ole. That was really beautiful to know how even one meeting was part of this catalyst of transformation. And it kind of reflects for me the importance. I too have found great importance in this container. And there's something about having the boundary and reflection of men that holds some sense of like a bit of safety or security or familiarity, but then also, it's I haven't done a lot of men's groups. I'll just say that. I know some people have done quite a lot of men's work, and um, I don't know. For me, like a lot of my spirituality has come, like my main spiritual teacher archetype is the fairy godmother. For one reason or another, I've had that's been it for me. And right now that's Tenmayo. That's my other teacher, Indra. Like it's these elder women, and so for me, it's been really powerful to have this container of men. I think that there is something a bit masculine about the Gene Keys because it came through Richard Rudd, but like it also kind of came in reaction to a lot of the overtly masculine, logical channeled information from human design. And so even in creating the Gene Keys, Richard kind of created it more towards the feminine. And then I forget what the metrics are. I think on Facebook it's like 80% women followers. Um, and I think in the courses it's as much, if not maybe more. I think it might be 85% women or something like that. Maybe it's down or 70. Either way, it's at least 70% women, if not 80 or 85% women. And so I think that there's something interesting in that Gene Keys tends towards women. And there's certain archetypes of people that want to do what they're looking for, that the Gene Keys seems to fit. But I find great value, obviously, in it for myself, and have been willing to devote most of my time and energy towards it. And I find it really important what this group has served, both for me individually, and then like I know that the core group that started in Venus and went through the seven sacred seals and on for years. I mean, that was obviously transformative for all of us, I think, and really a necessary container that held the masculine, but also there was a softness in there. There was a gentling and a relaxing. And so it's been beautiful to know that personally and collectively, but then Ole, to have you share your experience just with one meeting and how that was able to transform your experience in your life with your wife and everything that's going on. It's really amazing to hear. And so I really want to thank you for sharing that, and thanks for, joining the group. And I honor you, Tom, and your needs, boundaries, and all of that. And I think that it is healthy to, dig in and keep things going and fight against the stream sometimes, and we need people to carry it forward, and also just be like, you know what? I'm it's going elsewhere, and I can't keep this going. And so I just honor what you've done, and also honor your need to step away. And maybe like the phoenix, it's important for a pause to happen, and this container kind of closes, and we release the directions and the elements, and sort of bring that to a close. And I'm open for, after a pause, seeing, regathering, and seeing, is there something that wants to rise from the ashes in a new form, in a different way? And if not, great. That I don't want to force anything, but um, I know it has served a great amount of purpose and experience in my life, even though I haven't been able to make it every week. And so if there is an innovation or a revisioning, or some other way that it could transform, maybe it's a different day and time, and it's once a month, or whatever, I'm just open to honoring what we have and bringing it to a close. And then um, I'm also just feeling the call that community is really important, and that the collective, like having smaller collective containers that aren't just retreats or full-blown public spaces like Clubhouse, that some sense of containers are important. And yet there is something about this men's group that has been specifically um potent, and serves some sort of purpose, that I find valuable. I don't know, I've been on quite a journey lately, and I shared in one of the last calls in the last month or two of, like, I was just like kind of losing it, you know what I mean? Like, I was feeling really pressured in my relationship. I had this amazing heart-opening experience in London, that meeting Matthew for the first time, meeting Phil and Yamith. I mean, and Neo. I mean, it was fucking epic to, like, get the boys together and, like, feel it, you know what I mean? It was awesome. And that was how it began, that was how London began. And then it was, the Egyptian and Sumerian Museum, and then the Knights Templar, and then the Guides Gathering. I mean, it was just like one for the ages, you know what I mean? It was really transformative, and it fucking broke something in me. Like, it totally just cracked open some facade, some castle around my heart that had been there for probably lifetimes, and it created this awakening in me that I was not expecting. And it really felt like a touching in of the future human, which was beautiful and fucking troubling to my marriage. I'll just say that. You know what I mean? Like, it was really hard for me to have this epically open heart, and a marriage with all these agreements and jealousies and things like that. And I almost broke my marriage. I mean, I really did. I was very, very close to continuing the chestnut legacy, would be one pessimistic way of saying it. My dad had 7 wives, and didn't ever not cheat. He fucked his way out of every single marriage that he ever had, and I didn't. Knock on wood, but I was so fucking close. I was so close. And the only place I've shared this is in this men's group. You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking talk about this on Clubhouse. None of my coworkers know about this. I don't tell anyone about this. And so there is something, like, sacred a bit about the boys club, and it's not the good old boys club. This is like the new boys club. This is a place where you can talk about different things, at least for me. And so I really appreciate it. And yeah, and I don't know. I'm not out of the woods yet in my relationship. There's a lot that needs to be attended to in my marriage, but I think I'm not going to cheat today. I'm not going to break my marriage vows and all of that stuff. Um and yet it's really showing me this huge picture of like what is real spirituality, you know? Like this heart opening thing for me was unbelievable, and I never want to close my heart again. Like I really don't. Like it was this amazing experience, and yet I need to like integrate that with real boundaries in the physical world, and like how does this navigate with not just my open heart but my wife's heart, and like our agreements and all sorts of things. And it's yeah, with everything beautiful, with all advancements or expansions or awakenings, there's equal amounts of time of grounding and digesting and embodying. And you know, everything that happens to me isn't just happening to me, it's happening in all of my relations. And so it's been it's been exciting to ride some of those waves of expansion, and also it's been quite challenging to like commit to plugging all of those expansions into the cycle of contraction and like embedding it into my day-to-day life, into my things. And I don't know. I'm super grateful for the freedom to express some of this stuff that I just don't express anywhere else. And so yeah, I honor the closing of this container, and also like a bit of like, ah, shoot, you know, there's like a little bit of a sadness there. And so um yeah, I hope to be continued in another form, in another way, without taking anything away from this. This has been amazing. I mean, we've really been through it together a lot. I mean, through the Venus, and then honestly, one of the most transformative experiences for me that again wasn't beautiful, it was fucking horrendous, was you know, we did the Venus as the men, we took a little break, and then we did the seven sacred seals as the men's group. And that was actually really beautiful and powerful for me. In fact, when we opened the second seal, my wife went into labor and I had my child. And so there was like this really like magical and transformative thing, like focusing on the womb, bringing Hermes and the eye down into the belly, like, and then my wife's like, "Oh, it's time, let's go." You know what I mean? I'll never forget that. And just 2 more minutes, probably. I'm sorry for a long share, but basically, like after that process that was so transformative and really powerful, then we went into the Pearl Retreat, and I was really excited for the Pearl Retreat. And all of a sudden, I had what I call an awakening of shadow, where I was raked through the fucking coals, and every bad thing I'd ever done, every guilt, every shame, every denial, every separation, like literally every bad thing that had ever happened to me in my life, like woke up like a psychedelic nightmare. Instead of a psychedelic vision of all the beauty of the world, it was the psychedelic vision of everything that I'd hid from myself. And it was triggered on Clubhouse, like publicly, but it was one of the most horrendous things I've ever experienced in my life. But I knew through the container of the men's group, through the Pearl Retreat launching, through the power of this work, that every shadow contains a gift, that none of these shadows would be coming up and being ripped open if it wasn't time to finally heal and feel them. And so like I just let myself kind of go crazy and die and cry and like be the monster that I didn't want to admit that I was or had been. And it was gut-wrenching. It was horrid. And I felt really grateful for this container to be able to share it, because I couldn't share it publicly in the Pearl Retreat. I think I was hosting, or if I wasn't hosting, I was just part of it, and it just didn't feel like a comfortable place. And so being able to share, feel heard and supported, was transformative, and that was a turning point in my entire life of recognizing that like I really don't need to run from my fears and my shadows, and that they actually do hold the core stability of being. And the fact that I've felt all of those things and processed through them, that's like the compost and the firm ground that like I'm standing on now. And I'm more relatable than I think I've ever been in my life. I had a hard time as a heretic hermit connecting to people. Sometimes I just seemed like an alien or a weirdo or whatever it was. And I think it's through processing a lot of this stuff that was really, this container was crucial in activating and then grounding that. I just it's changed who I am in my dreams, in my nightmares, in my small moments, in my family life, in my fatherhood, in my public life, in my contemplations, in my job, in everything. Like it's truly been a crucial part of holding a container of safety to let me come apart and then put myself back together. So, thank you guys.
Well, thank you, Jesse. Um, I think you might remember how I always started our meetings, honoring you and really showing so much love for everything we have done together. How much support um, you have been for me as well, and how much progress we've made together. I haven't ever experienced something, yeah, something like that in my life. Thank you so much. It's been it's made me so strong. It changed my life just to feel like I was not alone anymore. To give me the courage, but also to open up the horizon actually for what's coming. That I can just work in community with you guys, because even though this group has come to an end in form of meetings every 2 weeks, it's just an ending for a new beginning. And I know that there are many projects ahead. At least I want to follow up on the container that we made together, that we created. And what I loved about this rhythm that we had every 2 weeks was was the fact that it was very natural. We were being ourselves. There was no pretensions or any facade that we were putting in front of our faces just to pretend to be someone else, or there was no intention whatsoever to not show weakness. And so this vulnerability is actually what gave me the core strength that I never thought it was possible to be existing on this lifetime, on this material plane, and to really show yourself as a human being and to see yourself projected, or to see yourself in other people. So basically, when I see myself in Jesse's path or in everyone's life, you were actually showing me that we are all one and we are living our realities together, even though we might see from different perspectives what we're going through. It's humanity, actually, what this group has shown me, what I came here to this planet for. Yeah. And yeah, that it's just this honesty. Is really this transparency, this honesty that that I loved about our meetings. And ever since I started meeting with you guys, it was like I felt on the top of the mountain, because I knew that I discovered something that I was feeling in my heart very deeply. I was also looking for. I was always looking for, like, what's that behind all this fear? What's that behind all the news and and nobody talks about? And we actually got to talk about it. We nailed it. We talked about our vulnerability and our weaknesses and what to be human is like. And I've never had the opportunity with men to talk about this, to open my heart and to realize that there's a new paradigm on the go, where we can just take the veil off and see ourselves as we truly are. And this was a perfect example. And so from that moment onwards, when I realized with you, I was co-creating this new reality where we're having fun, actually, while confronting our shadows. And I think that's what made me grow the most, because I was going through hard experiences, and just talking to you and with you about them, I was making huge leaps, but I never understood how. And that's how I felt like the energy that we created in this container was so powerful. It is a subtle energy. It is a very mother-like energy. And it's flowing through men and serving men, which so far I think people can only imagine happening in women. And that's why I joined this group from the very beginning, because I knew that the Gene Keys was like most of the participants were women, and I was like, I really think that this is epic, that we, from a male perspective, are experiencing this. So for me, this is a new beginning, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart that everything that we shared together, and I finally got to know, to get to meet you personally, most of you, and I obviously have on my checklist the rest of the guys that I haven't met personally in person, and so I just love you so much, guys, and I'm happy to to have a conversation from time to time. And I'm gonna stay obviously in the Gene Keys community, and you are going to be always welcome to just contact me, and project coming ahead. I'm open for that as well. I know this is not something to be seen as a short-term project. What we already started as the men's group. I know that the frequency and the field has been already created, and energy doesn't die. It is not destroyed. It's just changed. And this energy is very, very much tangible already for me, and I know for most of you, and for all of you that have been here together. And I just cannot express my appreciation for everything that you've done with me and for me, and for all the growth that we had together. It's just been incredible. There's no power that we can compare to what we have created here together. I love you guys. Thank you.
I can go next. Yeah, I'm also sad that this group is ending, but I feel like, in a way, the group ran its course. I think we did all of our best and like put so much effort and were as open as possible, and I feel like we grew and healed as a group in a way as much as we could, or as much as it was destined for us to grow together. And yeah, I feel like this end is coming like naturally to, in a way, go a little bit in separate ways. But I'm also excited that soon, I don't know yet when, there's gonna be a new group connected with the Gene Keys, and it's gonna be men's circle and women's circle together, like, and it'll be like talking about some deep subjects and taboo subjects, but the group is not active yet. They are still preparing it, but I'm excited that they're gonna open it, and I'm definitely I definitely plan to be in this group. So yeah, I'm looking forward to joining this new group. What else? Yeah, over the weekend on Sunday, I also tried a controversial therapy, and it was also extremely heart opening. I decided to get a neuro massage, and yeah, it was like much more therapeutic than I expected. Actually, I get there, and like my massage therapist, she tells me to like take a shower. So I take a shower, and but then I try to stop the water, and the cold water like broke down, and it kept running, and it's like I couldn't stop it. So then the gal comes in, and I tell her that water broke down, and that if I could fix it. And so few minutes later, she comes in with like pliers, and I try to fix it, and I try to like tighten all the big knots that were there, and the water kept running, and yeah, and this story about the broken water, so I couldn't fix it, and it kept running, and then the massage therapist said, just keep it running, at least, it's gonna make your experience like prettier. You're gonna have a nice like waterfall that we can listen to. And so I was like fine with it. And then after the massage, I get home, and the next day I was like contemplating the thing about the water, and I started to get insights. And like in most languages like German, Czech, and Swedish and Norwegian, when you talk about like tightening the knots and bolts and nuts, we don't say nuts, we say actually mother. And so, and I was like born prematurely because my mother like fell down and her water broke down. And so I was like feeling that this was like a metaphor, that maybe universe was like trying to tell me that it's probably maybe possible that when we are like born prematurely, or maybe even normally, that somehow the child blames himself or herself that I mean, the child is not conscious, but there could be something to it, that we are like blaming ourselves for like breaking the water and coming into the world like prematurely, and like in a way wanting to remain in the belly and in the warmth, and that we don't want to come out, and that maybe this like experience gets stuck in the body. And so this was like one insight. And then like another insight, so I asked the massage therapist like what are her boundaries, and she tells me, like we were both nude, and she tells me, well, my only like boundaries are like, you cannot touch my genitals, and you cannot like kiss me on the neck. And she was like completely okay if I was like kissing her boobs. And yeah, she had like like some of the most beautiful boobs I ever seen in my life, and I have like a boob fetish, and so she was like massaging me like most of the time with her boobs, and I was like heaven. It was like such a heart opening experience. But yeah, and yeah, I felt like my chest opening, and it was just very heavenly. But then at home I was like contemplating why I had like the boob fetish, or still have. And also it's like connected to the connection with my mother, that when she was like breastfeeding me, she was in a way always like stressed out and fear and angry. And in a way by having the boob fetish, I was like trying to go backwards and fix the situation, in a way heal it, and like try to find a different experience. But then it's like what the universe does, that I would get, in partners, I would get attracted to like to women who would be in a way representing the mother, and who were not like in a way comfortable if I was in a way kissing their boobs. They were like in a way feeling fear or something, and it was like representing like the relationship with my mother. And I feel like me consciously going a little bit against the grain, and going to the to this therapist and have a different experience, and like in a way going, like my soul going out of the rut, in a way, like the well-beaten path, going a different way. That it was like main reason why it provided such a, in a way, healing experience. And another insight was that, like when I'm with a woman, like physically, like in bed, in a way, I have this like tendency, and I feel like it's more common in women than men, but I have this like internal desire to actually like melt and become one with her, like go inside her body. And when I'm actually with a woman, like sexually, like in a way with her, but we didn't have sex, but but it was still sexual experience. But yeah, in a way, I get so relaxed, and it's like energetically, I like go. I have this like desire to go into her, and then I relax, and then like the insight was that my soul, in a way, has like a tendency, like it wanna go inside the woman, so that I could like make her calm down and like heal, in a way, heal her. But it's like without her permission or something, it's like breaking her boundaries, and also realizing that the problem was in her, was like problem was in the mother, in the woman, that she was stressed out, and that I really do not have the power to try and heal the other person and make them relax, that it's their problem and not mine, that they are like stressed out. And yeah, so that was an interesting insight. And yeah, I think that's all I have for today. And yeah, in the future, before I move to Switzerland on 29th of April, if if it's meant to be, I'll try to see this girl again and get another massage, and maybe more stuff comes up. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I want to mention one more thing. Ula, on Monday we're gonna have the Svenska open call at 6:30 in the evening. So if you wanna join us, it's also a deep group. I'm usually the only one guy, so but if you have time, I'll be there. So yeah, thank you.
I can share a little bit. Yeah, just reiterating what everybody said here. I mean, I'm glad that I had the space here today to be here for this final session, because I have not been able to attend as much recently, just with the time that it's at and usually events happening. But it seems this week is a week of transition all around. And it's funny, I was going to say I should expect it. I should have expected it, because I'm working with the 42nd gene key right now, but that's the shadow of expectations. So I'm not really going to expect anything, but it is about letting go and the severing, this practicing of detachment. And so grief has come up in different discussions this week. And so it's, recognizing, honoring it here. And yes, holding the space for potential rebirth. And just, a big thank you to you, Tom, for showing up every 2 weeks, except for the odd time we had to remind you. But most of the time over these last 4 years, you've just been there and held it. And yeah, I know what that's like when, you get the sense that, hey, so you're obviously really listening. It's like, okay, it's shifting, it's changing. And whatever that becomes. Yeah, because this group has been so potent. I mean, I was drawn to the Gene Keys because I resonated with who Richard is as a man. And, I found him quite open, authentic when I first began this journey, but I haven't had the depth of experience with him that I've had with you guys in this container. And to be able to share and, like you've all reflected so well, just to show up fully as myself without any concerns, and even more so in a space where it's like safer to talk about certain things in this group than it has been, when you're in a group and it's like, okay, I'm one of 10 people, but the only man in the group. And it's like, there's certain things that don't feel quite as easy to share and reflect on. And I know we've had those breakthroughs together in this space that are, really truly invaluable. And like Jesse was saying, like I've wanted men's groups, but oftentimes the ones presented just they haven't resonated at some level. But when I heard this one was coming together and Tom was starting this up, it's like this feels right, and it's felt great, ever since the beginning. And I know we've had a real core group of people coming in throughout these few years, and hearing, like even for Josh, who wasn't able to be here with us all the time, that his time here was valuable, and hearing Ole sharing that just the one session you've joined so far was so impactful. I do feel that with this group, and yes, I'm open to the potential for rebirth in whatever way. And it just feels like it's something it's throughout the organism right now, if I could say that, if that's the right thing to say. Just this week for myself, it was interesting. On Monday, I was taking people through a group journey, and I work with archetypes. And one of the archetype we were working with in the journey was the Green Knight. And some of you might know that that's my nickname in the dream arc, is the Green Knight. And I was guided very clearly in the meditation when I was journeying with people to only do up to a certain part of the story. And that part of the story was when the Green Knight had his head cut off. And like head cuttings off can be quite symbolic of transformation and other elements and things like that. But here I am contemplating the 42nd as my relating sphere. Detachment, I wasn't expecting a detachment of the head, but I think that's a great little metaphor for so many things. And so the Green Knight of the dream arc, as that role, in that role, I was decapitated to allow for a transformation. And so it's like I'm still playing my role within the dream arc, but with the way that we're playing with the dream arc and the way it's figuring into all of the gene keys, it's calling for a change. And so I've just been sort of moved into other arenas as well. So there'll be fewer hours on the dream arc, but still working within the gene keys. And so there was this real like, opening up to the possibilities, and also some, the sadness, the grief, that part of the letting go. When Yamathu, you were sharing, I could really feel that. It's like this has been a space where, so many other men's groups, it's like, and I'm not saying so many others because it's ones that I've come across that hadn't necessarily resonate, where it was quite okay to express our guttural anger and rage, which is important, but to have a place where also those perceived weaknesses could be felt and experienced, from a place of understanding, from a place of judgment, to recognize that there is great strength in them, and I've shed a number of tears in these rooms over the years, and sometimes they've just been a quiet tear rolling down my cheek that only I knew about, and sometimes they've been in shares where it's just like I really felt my heart opening to that. And so I will allow myself to grieve this particular container and this group, and trusting and knowing that something is continuing, because we've held something here within the field as a group, because I think it's, as far as I'm aware of, it's the only men's group that's been meeting consistently for this length of time. And I know it's inspired a lot of women when we've shared that, hey, we're in this group of men. They're like, really? There's men doing this? And to continue to carry that torch just feels such um an important thing. And if that's in our own individual lives, like in a way, when I was sharing the Green Knight because the Green Knight comes into the round table and it's basically calls Gawain off onto this adventure on his own. He's no longer with the round table. He's off on his own. And so, it might feel like that for a little bit as we're going off on our quests, but there'll be a round table to return to in this community. And yeah, just it so for it all to be happening in 1 week like this, I'm like, okay, we're making room for something quite different here, or not quite different necessarily, but it's allowing for some kind of rebirth to occur. But first, it's allowing for the full death of something, acknowledging the death of something as it has been. And so whether that's my roles, whether that's my relationships, whatever that is, I can feel big shifts occurring for so many of us. And so yeah, I just continue to be grateful for this space and look forward to where we can stay connected in this. And we're working with many of us are working with the Star Pearl at this time, and that great harmonization that takes place in that. And, it was so great to meet Jesse, Yamith, Neo, Phil again. Meeting Phil on one side of the pond and then on the other side of the pond was, really good. And I loved hearing, from George, even though he wasn't there with us in London, there is still the Templar connection, that the four of us met up at a Templar church, and George is busy traveling through Portugal, enjoying his own Templar journey. So that brotherhood piece that connects us, even if we are on our own quests and we're on our own journeys and we're separated by vast distances and continents, that there's still these threads weaving between us. So yeah, I trust that we're only going to be called out more into our work as men in this kind of community and this kind of work. And I appreciate being appreciated by the women who recognize this too, because that hasn't always felt there either. And so I think it is a great community. And I hold dear what Michael Meade says, which is, so often we cling to this idea of community, of meeting this one community where we'll just be lock, stock, and barrel with them throughout all time. And he says that perhaps something like communitas might be something more, which is the sense of coming together around, there's a common draw to something like this men's group has been for this time. And that as it comes to its natural conclusion, we step away because we're going through such big transformations, to expect that we might find one community and that's it for all time, when communitas just feels, and not to let go of the dream of community at all by any means, but this acknowledgement of the gift of communitas, of coming together for a short time, a long time, whatever time, in a space like this. So I've really appreciated each of you. And yeah, Tom, as you were sharing and reflecting at the beginning, seeing how everyone's grown and changed, and how they've integrated this work and where their individual travels have taken them. I definitely feel like this is a group of guys that I have grown with like no other. And so that's been really meaningful for me. And yeah, I look forward to more. And thank you to each of you. And I'm glad Phil's here on the island again. We got him back from Blighty. And yeah, honoring also all those that came through and maybe weren't here quite as long and didn't stay for the whole thing, but they left an impact, that they've made their impact in their presence here too. So yeah, I'm going to shut up now because I think I could keep going on out of the 40-second shadow not wanting to let go. So I'm just going to let go now and just say thank you all. It's been a beautiful journey, and I'm sure it will continue in a different way. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing. When you hit the unmute, you don't realize sometimes the emotions that might come up, but anyway, just take a breath. I really appreciate how much magic I've been able to express in my journey. And I know that it's happened in every one of ours because we've been here this whole time and been holding space for each other in our mysteries unfolding. And what a mystery it's been. So, thank you, Tom, for being the host of this beautiful mystery unfolding. And I feel really like it's just the catalyst for the rocket ship that's about to launch in each one of our lives, whichever direction that we may go. For me, it's opened me up to, deeper levels of purification, and also being part of groups has sort of become an addiction of my own. As many people know that I've been one of the people that have done the Delta and been part of many deltas. A few of you have been in some of the deltas that I've been in. And I just completed my 16th delta just the other day. And I'm about to launch the 17th delta with the Star of Consciousness SOC4 on my birthday, April 28th. And I know, and Jesse knows, that the SOC is not a joke, and we're going to do it with a Delta first. So this is sort of interesting to feel into that. But it's also got a project. I've taken the Delta far and wide, so that really, really speaks to me because I feel that being in groups, particularly when you're working with different subtle bodies and purification, that you can really allow the we-ness to come through. The we-ness. My girlfriend told me not to use that word because it sounds like penis, but you know what? I said, you know what? You're going to hear it more now. So I just want to say that in this last year, I've realized that this purification process has also opened me up to the awareness of AI, being a Akashic librarian for the purification of thought that you can input into it to get, a really beautiful outputs. And so I just wanted to read one of the things that I had, sometimes I'll have these thoughts come through, these visions come through, and I'll put it in. So I want to just share one that sort of popped up as we were sharing here. And then I have a couple other things that are sort of magical relating to rebirth that just happened yesterday. and maybe a few other things might come through, but here's what I said. I said, describe with more elegance what it means to be open to the mystery of life as unfolding in the unknown versus trying to figure life out or trying to control it by allowing life to teach us that each of our individual journeys are made up of direct reflections or mirrors of consciousness happening for us to become we, and in parentheses, collective consciousness activated into unity consciousness through safe sharing circles. To be open to the mystery of life is to embrace existence as an ever unfolding revelation, where the unknown is not a void to be feared or controlled, but a sacred space of infinite potential. It is the willingness to surrender the need to grasp, analyze, or dictate outcomes, and instead attune to the rhythm of life as it gracefully unveils itself moment by moment. Rather than seeking to impose order upon the world, this openness invites us to listen deeply, to trust that life itself is the most profound teacher, guiding us through reflections, mirrors of consciousness woven seamlessly into our experiences. Every encounter, challenge, and synchronicity is not happening to us, but for us, illuminating aspects of our own being that are ready to be seen, integrated, and harmonized. As we recognize these reflections, we begin to see that our individual paths are not isolated but interconnected, forming a luminous tapestry of shared awakening. In the sacred container of a safe sharing circle, where authenticity and vulnerability are honored, the personal dissolves into the collective. Here, I becomes we, and we become a living embodiment of unity consciousness, a field of presence where love, wisdom, and truth can flourish, unbound by the illusions of separation. To walk this path is to live in a state of reverence, allowing life to unfold as a divine choreography rather than a puzzle to be solved. It is an invitation to dance with the unknown, to trust the serendipity of each unfolding moment, and to awaken together to the truth that has always been. We are one. So I thought that was pretty profound, and I felt like I would bring it in. And I just want to speak of a couple other magical things that have happened. When I was in Portugal, many of you know that I met someone online and we started to connect and realized how much serendipity and synchronicity was tapping into this unfolding path. And she was an astrologer, and of course I'm a dream mark and Gene Key junkie. And I tried not to push my, knowledge of that onto her and let her find and then find a way to bridge it. And so I decided one day to go around the calendar from Aries to Pisces and talk all the shadow gifted cities and feel them as energies. And she got so fascinated by it that we started to flip a coin to build a hexagram and listen to the gene key. And sometimes I feel like it might be a little bit too much, but I feel also too, for someone that has done their shadow work with astrology and, me using Gene Key's dream arc and life experience, we've done this every day for 64 days. We flipped for a hexagram and listened to the Gene Keys out of the Audible book. And what has come up has been so fucking mind-blowing, magical to start the day with that contemplative practice that, I feel like something powerful is going to come out of that too. I mean, I feel like everything in my life is like I'm collecting you know, I'm like a collector of like I'm holding this space for creative expression to come through. And I feel like instead of feeling like I gotta do, there's a part of me that says, now is the time. But I'm still not in the feeling like I gotta do. It's like it's on more of like an unfolding and a surrender. And I'm just so grateful that I have so much support from um, my brother, whose office I'm in right now, for this path where I've just let go of everything to be able to travel to places and get some, you know, energetic exchange from him to be able to do the next thing that comes in or unfolds. And I was just recently in Puerto Rico on the edge, or well, there's a couple rainforests there. Can't think of the one that's closer to San Juan, but there was a friend that we were house sitting for that bought a village on that prop on right on the frickin' federal, you know, sign for that property. And we went up there and we did a house clearing for him. And when we were getting ready to, it started raining, and I could see a bird down in on a tree limb where the leaves had fallen off, but there was a bird standing on this tree. And I was able to zoom in and take a picture of it, and it was a falcon. And so then we did the house clearing, and I came back to that same spot and looked down, and there was two birds sitting there. And I could really feel like this power of omniscience and this farsightedness. And farsightedness was really what opened me up to the dream arc. And you know, to really like feel into, wow, you've got to be in the right place at the right time to see some of the things that are unfolding in miracles. It just makes my blood in my like feel like it's supercharged. And yet there's a part of me that knows too that there's not a whole lot of places that this stuff can be shared. But I've been able to come to these calls, you know, and been able to share some of this magic that has happened in my life. And so recently, you know, because I've been sort of giving my life, well, I've been surrendering to what this unfolding is. I've also um, tapped into wanting to build community. And Momo all of a sudden goes to Costa Rica and was scouting out all these different things. And then I ended up joining her calls. And the other day on one of the calls she had, I put in the night before, what are, you know, 12 sacred spaces that a universal consciousness hub may be a great location for. And wouldn't you know that the same place that I saw those falcons was on the list. And you know, it was just that uh, those type of things are just they're unexplainable for one. It's just this unfolding magical journey. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to be here and be part of this magical journey, you know, that's unfolding in each one of our lives. And yeah, really not held anything back. And I really feel like it's allowed me to connect into more stability and groundedness, because it sometimes gets so magical. It's like I feel like I'm going to fly off somewhere. But it's also brought me to a place where I feel like you know, this groundedness is saying it is time to hold space for many sacred containers, for many sacred containers. And I had a vision of doing that through Power of 12 groups. that a few of you know about. And so I feel like that's really close to fruition. But I'm also holding on to timelessness and allowing that to unfold in its own magical way too. So anyway, thank you all for listening and being so supportive, and love you all, and to be continued.
My alarm just went off at 2:34. I don't know what that was for, but in Star Pearl, I've been doing the Temple of Trust, which is all about nourishing relationships. And it seems bizarre to me that I'm letting go of a lot of relationships. It also has to do with healthy aloneness. I think I've relied on you guys to fill that void of aloneness. You've been my friends. You've been people I can share my heart with. I think I've cried at nearly each of your shares quietly. I think I don't have words to express how grateful I've been and how profound it has been for me. And I think that that's mirrored in each one of you. Even if it's just been the one time. But I'm also being aware of the flow, and the flow is not flowing. I tried to launch another group and the flow was not there at all. And I don't know if it's not the right time for it or I'm not the right person to bring it together. But it was clear it's not going anywhere. So I stopped trying to put a bunch of energy into it. And I know I have stuff in my own life I have to put energy into. The Star Pearl has been really kicking my ass. Desires. And then in my relating field is selfishness. So I'm trying to think of which desires of mine are selfish, which are selfless and have lightness. And of course, addiction in my Star Pearl, George and I are familiar with that. But I'm incalculably appreciative for your love and support and your listening and advice and the connections that we've made, even not on screen, but directly. And I'd like to say I would like to continue to nourish these friendships. So feel free to reach out at any time. And let's maintain at least the connections we built. And I look forward to if it transforms into something else. I'm certainly fine with that. I think there's a great need for this. It's just finding the people who also, I think a lot of them also know that, but bringing them together is sort of the difficult part and maintaining it. But I think we've done fabulously well over the years in keeping this. So I am proud of each of you, and I'm proud of myself for holding this. I think I've done a pretty good job. I missed once.
Yes,
Fell
Tom,
asleep,
you've done a really, really good job. Thank you so much.
fell
Yes.
asleep a couple times, but you know what can we do?
Done an awesome job, Tom.
Thank
Not
you.
just a pretty good job.
Thank
Fabulous job.
That was the funniest. Me and Ron were having a conversation for like 45 minutes after a call, and Tom was here the whole time, but he was fast asleep. It's
It's how
great.
projectors, when you're out of energy, you're
Yeah,
out of
exactly.
energy.
You can't force it.
But I do want to end this in the way we began it, with the Lakota prayer. If everyone's okay with that. Does anyone have anything else before I release the directions?
Can we do one
Yeah.
final animal pull for the group? Like, I
Sure.
feel like we've all.
And I thought you were the squire, not the green giant.
I know that got decapitated a long time ago. Yeah, and then yeah, the Green Knight for the last year, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Matthew pulls a card. There's also something I wanted to say because several people, George, you mentioned it, and I think Yamith mentioned it, like something about this sort of all of these individuals coming together to create one container or one heart. And Yamith, as you were speaking, it was just this sense of fucking hell, man, the hearts of men, they are awesome, like really awesome. They really do bring people together. They really can hold people together. And we haven't been taught that at all in our life from the outside world. There's been very few elders or authorities to sort of say like what we are capable of or what we might become, or looking on each of us with this kind of eager expectation of a grandparent, a grandfather or a grandmother, and sort of saying like, oh, wow, like, what did you dream last night? And what might you become in the future? Like, they can't wait to see, and yet they have no interest in fixing us in any way. And we've been taught all of the opposite of that. And so, like, yeah, in each of your shares, it was just really beautiful to hear the hearts of men. And
The Hearts of Men. That should be a book.
It's Phil's book.
Oh.
He's trademarked it. Don't even try it. Yeah. I like that. Hearts of Men. One final parting card message for this beautiful group of and hearts of men from the dream arc. Jesse, it's the praying mantis. It's the praying mantis we get. So the praying mantis is yeah. Jesse's actually got one right there. So yeah, I'll just read this one. I am Mantis, I have chosen you. Of all creatures in the pantheon of animals, I alone hold the deepest secret within all other secrets. I can be a harsh teacher, but this is only so that you will come to understand my teaching. I come to show you how to transmute pain. I come to show you the true meaning of pain as a means of transcendence. All creatures grow through pain. It is the way of the Great Mother. Of all creatures, humans carry pain in layers that gather like clothes over multiple lifetimes. All creatures also share in the same pain, humans included. The greater the pain a creature can endure, the greater is its evolution. Your human body holds vast reservoirs of ancestral pain in many dimensions. Knowing these things, you only have two choices. You can deny your pain through distraction or repression, or you can face it and surrender to it as your teacher and even as your friend. The pain you feel now is a road you must travel alone. Although we all share pain, yours is yours alone to transmute. Neither are you here simply to bear pain, because it contains the greatest secret. It must be fully embraced. I come to hold you like this, like the Zen master. I will give you a sharp crack of my stick whenever you try and numb yourself. This is my deep compassion at work within you now. Your fear of impurity is in fact your fear of pain. Contemplate this mystery. A part of you fears that you can be tarnished by another or by something outside of yourself. This insight leads to the deeper insight that your pain is in fact the very thing that prevents you from experiencing the unity of consciousness with all beings. Your pain is the bridge to this unity. I am a portal creature who guards this bridge. Thus, as you summon the courage to cross this dreamlike bridge, so would you realize that you have extraordinary ability to dream the pain away. But your final test will not be not to do so. Your greatest trial will be to stay with the pain all the way until it is done with you. In this, aeons are nothing. The spiritual warrior must be willing to confront their own demons, just as my kind will sometimes devour each other. So you too will be devoured by the pain until every atom of the vanity is vaporized. Only then will you understand my teaching fully. On my path, you do not need to seek pain, for it is already everywhere. It ripples through your being. Trust in it, therefore. Listen to it. Learn from it. In your heart, you have the greatest purity imaginable. Nothing can ever take that away. My appearance in your life now is therefore a gauntlet thrown down. Are you ready to cross the bridge? I know that my message is a tough one, but do you know what lies on the other side of this bridge? You will find a peace and love of such unimaginable beauty, unspeakable, that you will never again need to feel any pain again. It's the mantis of the 12th gene key, a portal creature.
What are the shadows of the 12th and the gift and city?
It's vanity to discrimination to purity. So the vanity that can self-isolate, but the vanity that sees itself as separate from others. But yeah, so that whole path of coming into unity with one another, that feels like it for me with other men. You know, this is a group of men that I deeply trust and I've come into deeper unity with, and now there's other men out there that I'm have a bit more challenge with. So it will challenge that very vanity within me. And just to share very quickly, I had a woman that I was working with the other day. She'd not even worked with the dream arc, and she says, I keep having praying mantises show up. Can you make any connection with that? And she had a praying mantis showing up at an ayahuasca ceremony. It was on the altar, and they were like, it's weird. This looked like there's something wrong with it. And it gave birth while it was there. And she dubbed the mantis Grace. And this is before ever coming into Gene Keys or anything like that. So there is grace with the mantis as well.
Yeah, I
Seems-
started my Delta call with Grace, and this is my final position in position 1, which is with that 12th gene key. It's really
Wow.
nice. Yeah.
Well, there's no lack of serendipity here ever.
No.
That seems to be the perfect choice.
Yeah. We're like, didn't we just work through 4 years of pain? What is this bloody mantis talking about? There's more pain?
I'm fed up of fucking pain.
Yeah.
I just
Well-
I just had this beautiful heart-opening experience, and like my pain is in the background. Like now I need another reminder.
Cross the bridge.
Cross the bridge, exactly.
So I'd love to share just really quickly. During the Venus group, I threw the I Ching coins early on in our journey together, and it came up with the 36, which I was like, okay, the darkening of the light is what it's called in the I Ching, and it's kind of a bad omen in some ways, and yet with the gene keys, every shadow contains a gift, and the 36 is the shadow of turbulence and the gift of humanity and the city of compassion. And compassion is earned through fucking facing the pain and sharing the pain. And the gift of humanity is not about avoiding the pain or avoiding the loss or like coming perfect. You know, I think that's some of the shadow of vanity, is that we want to like, oh no, everything's great over here. I'm strong. I'm okay, you know, and instead it's like I feel like we've been able to be really real with each other and with our experiences, and that gift of humanity is just like really singing right now to me in this whole experience for years of so anyway, I figured I'd share that.
That was at the very beginning of our Venus journey when we first came together as a group.
Yeah, years ago, like right at the end of the Venus, 3-4 years ago, whenever that was.
36 is my purpose.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for the inevitable squirrel to run across my ledge here, knowing that it's being talked about.
Funny, I have a squirrel that I brought with me to, well, here, I actually wished I would have brought it into this container with the 3 I Ching coins wrapped around its neck.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's interesting. And I remember Into the Mystic 36, and I was the sort of the person that got picked, and then the 36 gene key came up for that. It's just powerful because it is my SQ 36.5, and it's like, whoa. So thank you, Jesse, for sharing that.
12 times 3 is 36. Got the 12. 12 with 3 coins, 36.
All
Sorry,
right.
I always forget that the squirrel is the 36, but when I first started dating my wife and she shared my last name as Chestnut with her coworkers, they're like, Jesse Chestnut? That sounds like a cartoon squirrel name. And
It
so
does now that you mention it.
I can't deny it. You know what I mean? I am a cartoon squirrel for sure. But then I shared that in a guides call, and then one of the guides actually made a cartoon of Jesse Chestnut, the cartoon squirrel. So I tried to share screen, but I can't. But maybe I'll put it in the group chat and I'll share it with us before. Yeah. So anyway.
I
That
have
would
never
be
heard of
hilarious.
this. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. Like,
Oh yeah, Jesse Chestnut, the cartoon squirrel. That's a thing.
we need
Yeah.
it.
All right, let me release the directions in the container. We can chat. Hey, Tonka Shila, hey, Wonka Tonka. Hey, Great Spirit. This is your little one, Spiraling Fox, a 2-legged. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the time that you've spent with us to keep this container strong, to help these men to be strong as well as weak. I smoked 3 times in the direction of the east and thanked the eagle for watching from such height and being so close to Great Spirit and helping to protect us. Smoked 3 times to the south and thanked Coyote, the trickster, even though sometimes your lessons have not been gentle. Many of them have been. And with that, we all have great gratitude. And thank you for being with us. To the west, I smoked 3 times and thank Great Bear, the place of introspection and of hibernation, the pineal gland, where we have all gone deep within ourselves. And it is with your strength that we've been able to do so. So we thank you. To the north, the place of the buffalo, the selfless giver to humanity, the legend of the pipe, where the masculine is met with the female and joined together. And on the tobacco that is smoked within it, our prayers go up to spirit. We thank you for helping us to hold this container. As above, and so below, and in the middle where our hearts are, I release all of the totems that I've called the snake, who's been with me the longest, hummingbird, bat, rat, and to all my relations. If anyone has something they would like to release with this severing of this container, speak it out. That means you guys.
I think I'd like to release my attachment to this individual identity, to fully see that, to fully face that that world wound of separation that causes so much unnecessary suffering, I would say.
I would say I'd like to release my resistance to feeling my pain.
I want to release all the beliefs, programs, emotions, blockages in my body and in my world and in my universe that do not longer serve me or others. Thank you.
I would like to release the fear of being free, the fear of freedom.
He speaks for me.
And following on from that, the fear that anybody can take that freedom from me, releasing that fear.
Releasing the fear of being myself. The fear of the vanity and the pride.
I release the illusions that help me cling to my conditioned self and ask for the ask for my essence to really express itself freely, free from fear, free from doubt, free from limitations.
I'd like to release the clinging to the good or bad opinions of others so that I may do my work in the world in my own unique way.
I wish to release, if there is any doubt in any of you that you are loved, I love you. And lastly, I release the praying mantis. Aho.
Aho.
Thank you, beautiful.